them everything you've dreamed of. If you're dreaming of freedom and liberty, I would be the one you're dreaming of. If you're dreaming of something else, you're probably dreaming of, well, if you're a girl, you're probably dreaming of Brad Pitt. If you're a guy, don't dream of me. All right. Welcome back to the Patrick Regan Show, the dreamy Patrick Regan Show. Oh, yes, that's just a image you don't want to think about. When we left off, we were talking a little bit about this nullification, and what I was asking you, if the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of what is constitutional or not, and I know what you've been taught in school, and it's not correct. As I said, the people created the federal government. They created the Supreme Court. So how can that which we create be the final voice in whether what it does is constitutional or not when we create the Constitution? And as I said when we left the last segment, we are the creators of the Constitution, the people of this country. We are the ones that created the state government and the federal government. Now, interestingly, a poll was released back in the 1st of May, which found a majority of politically engaged Americans support the general principle of nullification. 52% of mainstream voters think states should have the right to block any federal laws they disagree with on legal grounds. So we are making progress. And these latest scandals should serve to strengthen those numbers. A majority of Republicans support state efforts to block infringements on the right to keep and bear arms, and also believe state and local governments should take the lead in regulating those firearms. Democrats generally oppose the idea, and they favor federal control of guns. However, when you ask Democrats about drug laws, 59% of Democrats think the feds should back off enforcing federal drug laws in states with legalized marijuana. So, you see, neither party is on board with nullification if it doesn't square with their political views. That's why we have to educate as many people as we can on the ideas of libertarianism, of the original American ideals. Because these people are all too bound up in party loyalty and politics to realize they're being used to promote their particular side's agenda, which isn't the free American one. Now look at the numbers. Obviously, these people instinctively know the federal government shouldn't be sticking its nose into everyone's business. Otherwise, these poll numbers, both sides would favor federal government control across the board. The Democrats would say, yeah, the federal government should be enforcing drug laws. And the Republicans would say, yeah, the federal government should be enforcing gun laws. So you see, when nullification favors their agenda, they're all for it. So overcoming the comatose support of their party, that's the goal. And that's our goal here on the Patrick Regan Show. But I can't do it alone. Your help is needed. You have to get these people to listen to this show and start getting their eyes opened. The truth revealed like only it is on this show. The time is now, because our fundamental American rights, such as gun rights, due process, the freedom of speech, all of these have been and are being challenged under different laws and regulations. All of these core rights that we used to take for granted are under assault, not from just this administration, but from the whole government in general. And not only at the federal level, but all levels of government. This problem infects all of them, and it is up to us to weed it out. A recent poll by Fox News found that 29% of Americans thought an armed revolution might be in our future because of the overstepping of the government. 29%. That's a lot of people. The good thing is nullification is a peaceful way to bring about change. By merely refusing to comply with federal laws, the states can stop the expansion of federal power. Now, Brian Roberts is a columnist, and recently he noted that nullification is far superior to armed revolution, as it allows one state to have policies that differ from another. No violence needed. No legislation has to be, quote, right. It just needs to be right for its individual state. Now, bad legislation can be met with reductions in taxpayer base, because people will move out, not armed conflict, as more people move to a state more consistent with their individual politics and needs. And since each state can have varying policies, the level of discontent is reduced. Thomas Jefferson warned us to consider the judges as the ultimate arbiters of all constitutional questions is a very dangerous doctrine indeed, and one which would place us under the despotism of an oligarchy. He also wrote, our judges are as honest as other men, but not more so. They have with others the same passions for party, for power, and the privilege of their core. And their power is more dangerous as they are in office for life and not responsible, as the other functionaries are, to elective control. What he was warning us about was these are only men and women. They have the same failings as the rest of us humans. But we have to watch them carefully since they are not elected but serve for life. What he is getting at, these judges on the Supreme Court could potentially usurp power from the other branches by asserting itself as the final say on all laws in this country, which is what it's done, even above the individuals, which would essentially make it an unelected dictator. If you look at the actions of the Supreme Court, at its opinions, you'll see that we're getting dangerously close to this happening. And that's just one more reason to move power back to the states and ultimately to the citizens. Thomas Jefferson also wrote in the Kentucky Resolutions of 1798, which I quoted for you in the last segment, in questions of power, then, let no more be heard of confidence in men, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. What Jefferson is stating is he doesn't want to hear about how confident people are that men won't seek to always do the right thing. He wanted them bound by the chains of the Constitution. He doesn't trust them. He knows human nature. He also wrote, whensoever the general government assumes undelegated powers, its acts are unauthoritative, void, and of no force. He also stated that nullification is the rightful remedy when the federal government seeks to extend its influence beyond the limitations of the Constitution. We'll have more on nullification in the coming weeks and ways you can carry it out yourself, such as jury nullification and a couple other things, even if you aren't one of these representatives from government. But ultimately, the power lies with you, the American citizens, the people who grant the government limited and specific powers and nothing more. All right, we are up on the last break here on the Patrick Regan Show. Boy, this show just flies. This has got to be the quickest hour you experience all week. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about, well, we won't get to the immigration thing. We'll go jump to Syria again, which we just can't seem to stay out of for some reason, but we'll talk a little bit about it in the last segment here on the Patrick Regan Show on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. Join us in a couple of minutes.